I recently opened up a case of 2018 commercial MREs from the company XMRE. I've had a number of XMRE MREs over the years, and one thing that I've always liked about the company is that they're always trying to improve their product. Whenever I get new ones, there always seems to be some new improvements, some new additions, something to make it better. So when I went ahead and opened one of the MREs, I wasn't too surprised to find that there were some differences from the last time I had one. There were a few changes and a few new additions. But overall, the biggest change was that they put in a brand new ration heater. Up until now, XMRE has always used the standard flameless ration heater that's found in all US MREs. This is the one that's found in the genuine MREs and in most of the commercial ones too. But sometimes some of the companies will customize them. This one here is the exact same thing, but it's branded for the SurePack Meals MREs from Spaco. And these heaters have been found in MREs since the 1990s. There's been a few minor changes over the years, but basically it's the same thing that it was back in the 90s. And it's something that works fine. These generally last about 5 years. After that, it's kind of dicey. They may work, they may not work. And even when they do work, it's not going to cook any food. It's basically, it's called a flameless ration heater, and that's what it does. It heats up your entree or some water for some coffee, something like that. But it's not meant to cook anything. It's basically a heater, which is great when you're in the field and eating an MRE, and it gives you a chance to have a hot meal rather than a cold meal. And other than SurePack customizing a flameless ration heater for their own rations, the only other time I've seen something different in a commercial MRE was when Meal Kit Supply used to put in these flameless ration heaters in their MREs. This one, as you can see, is quite a bit bigger. And it works on the same principle, but instead of putting the pouch inside of the flameless ration heater, you actually wrapped the heater around the pouch. It was kind of a good idea. It meant that you didn't have to get that kind of messy water all over everything. But unfortunately, these never really worked very well. There's more complaints, I think, about them than anything else. And eventually, Meal Kit Supply replaced them with, of course, the standard flameless ration heater. So when I saw that XMRE had changed their flameless ration heater, I was pretty excited. I did recognize this because it's very similar, and I believe it's going to run on the same principle as the next generation ration heaters from MealSpec that I reviewed a number of years ago. And while those were referred to as heaters, they actually were capable of cooking. You could actually boil an egg with them. And basically that same technology is also found in Omeals. Omeals are, it's called a meal, but it's basically just an entree. And inside of this is a self-contained heater, which runs on the exact same principle. Basically open this up, take everything out, activate the heater, and it's going to really heat up fast and very well. I've done reviews on the MealSpec heaters, and I've done a couple of reviews on Omeals in the past. And because of the fact that this is such a change, I thought it was worth taking a look at the new XMRE flameless ration heater. So I figure we'll take a quick look at this, do a quick demonstration, and see how it compares to a standard flameless ration heater. Since this is something new, we might as well take a look at the instructions. Contents are heater bag and heating element. They come separate, and we'll see why in a second. Instructions: open heater bag, remove all contents. Open heating element, place inside heater bag, insert food pouch. Add 3 to 5 ounces of liquid to fill line, and seal heater bag. Let steam and heat for 3 to 5 minutes. Carefully remove food pouch, open and enjoy. So this should heat up quite a bit more than a regular flameless ration heater, and that's why they say to wait 3 to 5 minutes. Generally, in a regular flameless ration heater, you're supposed to wait 10 to 15 minutes. And one last thing before we go ahead and open this up, this does have a gusseted bottom, which means this is going to stand up on its own, which is nice, because that eliminates the need for the standard rock or something that most flameless ration heaters recommend using. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Basically, you have a bag. You tear the top off the bag, and then inside it has a Ziploc, so you can reseal it. And it's just a bag. The heating element, you don't want to get any water on this, and because of the fact that there's a steam vent in the bag, that's why they pack them separately, because water obviously could get into this because it literally has a hole in it, has 2 holes in it. So I'm going to open up the heating element. Kind of similar in looks to the standard flameless ration heater. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit smaller, and it feels like it has about the same amount of stuff, but it's in a smaller package. I'm going to drop that in, and we'll put in our entree pouch. And just to make a comparison, we'll also try out a standard flameless ration heater. This one's from 2015, so it's a few years old. I would prefer to use something even newer, but that's what I have on hand. And one of the interesting things about the new Flameless Ration Heater and the XMRE MREs is that it's so new that they actually still included the cardboard heating sleeve, which, when you think of it, there's no need for this anymore because you actually, now you put the entree right into the bag and you're not going to be touching it with anything. Originally these were for when they get rid of the cardboard boxes, and you could use them to put the standard Flameless Ration Heaters in. So we will use that for this one, but it's just kind of interesting that XMRE has added something totally new to their MREs and they haven't quite realized that they don't need this anymore. Although then again, I suppose it's still a convenience because these can be used, if you fold the bottom in, they can be used as a little holder for your entree pouch, which I suppose is kind of good because this is going to heat it up so much more than this would. But now we'll go ahead and activate the control for this little experiment, the standard Flameless Ration Heater. Okay, and that seems to be activating well. Get the steam coming out of there. Slide that into the heating sleeve, and as mentioned, we'll put that on a rock or something. And now for the fun part. So just to add 3 to 5 ounces of liquid. It doesn't have to be water. It doesn't have to be drinking water. That's one of the things that Omeals had mentioned with theirs. It's as sort of an advantage. Obviously you can use any kind of water. You can use water from your canteen, from your water bottle. But if you're out in the wilderness, you can also use water from a stream that you wouldn't necessarily want to drink from. You could use water from a muddy puddle, or maybe drained off the exhaust of your vehicle. Something that you wouldn't necessarily want to drink. And yes, urine is a liquid. They don't say anywhere specifically that you can use it, but it is a liquid, and it does say any liquid. So we're going to add 3 to 5 ounces of liquid. I'm adding 4 ounces. And you reseal the top. And you let it stand. It should take about 15 to 20 seconds. And there it goes. As you can see, that's a pretty powerful little heater there. The standard Flameless Ration Heater does generate steam, but nowhere near as much as we just saw come out of this one. And if we check the temperature on this, we get it on the back side. So it's at 182 degrees. Get it to the water part. Looks like the highest I've seen is 182. And that's already higher than a Flameless Ration Heater will get. Let's check the hottest part, which is the element. And this one's basically around 150. So between 140 and 160, it's fluctuating a lot. But this one is doing its job. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, heating up the ration. And this one is doing its job. It just does a little bit of a better job. I haven't seen anything claiming that this can boil water or that it can hard boil an egg or cook meat, fish, or anything like that, but it seems to be the exact same technology used in the Omeals and the MealSpec heaters, which could do all of that. So I'm not sure what this gets to for a peak temperature, but it's definitely a lot hotter than a standard Flameless Ration Heater. And I think what we'll do next is we'll give this a few more minutes, and we'll check out the temperature of both the pouches in these Flameless Ration Heaters. Alright, after about 5 minutes, this one is still going strong. Still shooting out a lot of steam. But I think it's pretty much done what it's supposed to do. And I have to say that this, I picked a good one here. This Flameless Ration Heater, the standard one, is heating up very well. This is doing an awesome job. I did another heat test, and they're both in the 180 degree range, which is actually pretty amazing for a standard MRE. They don't usually get up quite that high. So I believe with these you get an initial basically explosion of heat, which we kind of heard when it activated, and that basically is at a temperature that could boil water. And then it kind of calms down a little bit and it settles in around 180, 185. I don't know the exact specs, but that's what I encountered at least. And standard Flameless Ration Heater generally is more like 165, 170, and it basically stays pretty even for about 10-15 minutes. So let's try to take this out of here. They do say to let the steam dissipate, which I don't think it's really going to do because this is it's actually still working. It's really hot. Ow. Well, it's very effective, but I would say it's, in a way, almost too effective because of the fact that it's pretty much too hot to handle. It seems to be pretty evenly between 150 and 160. Check out our standard one. This one's a little bit easier to handle. As I said, it was very effective, and it's still actually heating. I haven't given it the full 10-15 minutes. This one's closer to 100 degrees. Let me flip it over and get the side that was against the... Okay, that's closer to 150. And of course, with these, because of the fact that the heater element is on one side, yeah, one side is definitely hotter than the other, so it's always a good idea to knead this a little bit and get the heat evenly distributed. So once you do that, it'll probably be a little bit less than 150. This one, on the other hand, the steam heats it all around, and the whole thing is, yes, they're pretty close as far as temperature, but this one is definitely too hot to handle. So thank you for watching the video and checking out something new with me. I was pretty excited to see this in the new XMRE MREs, and I have to say I wasn't very disappointed with it. It's a pretty exciting new thing. Since we went through all this, I might as well go ahead and have some lunch. This one was spaghetti with beef and sauce. Let's see how hot this is. Yes, that is very hot. It is hotter than you would expect from a standard Flameless Ration Heater, definitely. And as I said, even beyond the temperature, just the fact that it's evenly hot all the way through is very impressive. So, thank you for watching. And since we are checking out something new, it does seem worth following up a little bit with a little more information. First off, as I was eating this spaghetti, one observation was that I ended up burning my tongue in the roof of my mouth. And I can't say how often, probably never, that I've ever experienced that from an MRE pouch that was heated in a Flameless Ration Heater. Boiling water, yes, but a Flameless Ration Heater, no. And now it has been about 10-15 minutes, and both of these are still hot, but they're obviously winding down. Actually, this element is incredibly hot. But one thing I did notice, and I think I saw it mentioned on, it was either on the Meal Spec or the Omeals, but I haven't really seen a lot of information on these yet. But when you look into here, you can see that the heating element pretty much absorbed all the water. If I had used full 5 ounces, it may have lasted even longer. But now the element it's huge. It's like really puffed up, and it's pretty solid. But the other thing is that there's almost no smell coming off of this. It's actually kind of a pleasant smell. It basically, as much as you can say, it basically smells like steam. There really isn't any kind of a chemical smell coming off of there, which is nice because, as I'm sure a lot of people are aware, the standard Flameless Ration Heater, it does emit a hydrogen gas that doesn't smell all that great. It does say vapors released by the activated heater contain hydrogen, a flammable gas. Do not place an open flame in the vapor. It also says vapors released by the activated heater can displace oxygen. When 10 or more heaters are used inside a vehicle or shelter, ensure the ventilation system is operating or top hatch or door is open. It doesn't exactly say anything about the smell, but it's definitely not a pleasant smell. It's not the worst thing in the world, and it's the price you have to pay for heating up an entree, and that's fine. But it's yet another advantage of this one. It just makes steam that really doesn't have any kind of odor to it. So once again, thank you for watching.